that relationship, they have been integrated into a condition. And therefore, it takes quite a process of healing until finally you re-emerge as a full individual, complete individual without the negative consequences of that leaving behind a part of you. A part of you will be left behind because you remember it, because it was part of your life, because you may have children out of that, and children in that context. So really, it is always possible for people to separate, but it's not possible to disavow completely the fact that they have been married. You see, they have been married, they have been connected, they have had a life experience. And all of those are a part of their being. And they're an important part of their being, and they're a positive part of their being. And then, like any other aspect of life, it has positive, negative dimensions, and so forth. So it is the first thing that we need to learn to reflect on about marriage is the nature of marriage. That marriage is an act of union, meaning a process of unity in creation. And that unity process is as we said, is always involved diversity, which means two diverse individuals, a man and a woman, come together and create a third entity, which is the marriage. And all three of them are going to be in need of growth and maturation. And that's why we need a community of people. You see, in the past, we had extended families that lived together or close together. Especially in many parts of the world, that's the case. But many other parts of the world is not. So when we reflect on the context of Baha'i marriage, for example, the fact that Baha'u'llah says that when you want to get married, you have to have the agreement and the consent of your parents, regardless of how old you are. It's not because it makes a statement that you're making a mistake. You may be making a mistake also. It's not because of that, but it's because you have to maintain unity. You have to create bonds of unity and so forth. So that dimension of creating a larger family, extended family, is so essential because new families, new marriages need a lot of support. And in our nuclear family society, families are left alone. They don't have the necessary support. Ideally, the Baha'i community has to become our extended family. It should be in the context in which the people, families, individuals would have access to the collective expressions of love, support, wisdom, experience of the larger community. We don't have those yet, that kind of a family. We have to gradually establish them and create that larger community of people in which marriages begin to blossom and begin to be helped and so forth. Many marriages are lost and just unnecessarily. The marriages end up unnecessarily because simply there hasn't been enough of support to help them to go through these earlier stages of development. It's like when you become a parent, how difficult it is to take care of a child, a newly born child, right? Well, the same thing is how difficult it is to take care of this newly born marriage. Because imagine what happens in marriage. You first fall in love. But process of falling in love is a very dangerous process. Because when you fall in love in a blind state. The first stage of falling in love is the stage of blind love. What is blind love? Blind love is that we have all ideas of what is an ideal husband or an ideal wife. We imagine it. My husband or my wife would be this way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Okay? It's really fantastic. Then you meet somebody and you like the shape of their nose and toes. And then you say, that's it. That's the person, okay? I love this person, okay? and you fall in love and you superimpose all your ideal on this person. So this person now becomes the embodiment of your ideal, not actually what it is. So then you go to your parents and say, I have fallen in love. And they say, oh, that's marvelous, my little baby has fallen in love. Okay. And they say, who have you fallen in love with? They say, I have fallen in love with this person. This person? You have fallen in love with this person? What do you see with this person? You see? What's going on, you know? So we say, but this person, yeah, you know his background and drinking and this and that and that. And you say, yeah, I know, but we love each other. And love is going to take care of everything. So that's the process of falling in love, because you become blind to the reality of what it is. During the time of falling in love, the relationship of the two individuals, that's my grandson, so you have to excuse him. During this process of falling in love, what happens is that the two individuals, okay, here we have one and the other, they become totally consumed with the thought of each other. So their personal lives are very limited. They constantly think about each other. They constantly think about each other. When they are together, they are together. When they are not together, they send little texts to each other and listen messages to each other and write poetry to each other. And it is also it is a stage that the couple actually, in the emotional, intellectual sense, begin to become more childlike. Okay, so we give each other names, little baby names, you know, and cute names, and we call each other. We have all private language, and we talk with each other and send signals to each other, because we separated from the world. You know, we are totally preoccupied with each other. This is the stage of romantic love or blind love. It is a nice stage. Nice stage. It lasts very short period of time. Okay, that's the problem, but a very short period.
You say it's necessary.
It is essential, yeah, because we have to be crazy in the path of love, okay? Yeah, in other words, you have to lose certain degree of passion, you know, certain degree of rationality. Otherwise, it becomes cold love. And you don't want to have a cold love. I'd rather to have a hot love. Okay? Okay? Because the hot love, you can make it cold. But you cannot make a cold love warm. Okay? You can't. So yeah, it's a good idea to start with a passion, okay? With that sense of togetherness, because this is the first value of, you know, the valley, that beginning of love. And you have to see that intensity, because that intensity puts you together, connects you together, okay? And that's good. That's good as long as it lasts. For some people last a short while, some longer. When people, now in our societies, that people have become very flexible in level of closeness together, intimacy together. The the first phase of love becomes mixed with the functions that belong to the marriage, like sexuality and intimacy at the sexual level and so forth. And because of they do that, they actually live out the romantic phase of their love before they get married. And they actually get married when they begin to start in the second phase. What is the second phase? The second phase of marriage is the phase of differentiation, or the phase of separation. Separation meaning individuals going apart from each other. Because you cannot always stay in that close condition, because you need certain degree of freedom. You see, here are two individuals who can go to bed whenever they want. They can go to restaurant where they want. They can go to this restaurant, to that restaurant. They can eat Chinese or Japanese or this or that. They can do anything they want. Suddenly they have fallen in love, and you say, let's go to eat something. And say, okay, where should we go? Persian place? No, I say, I don't like Persian food. Okay. We go Italian? No, I don't like. Suddenly you begin to see that your freedom is taken away from you. You are not all that free. You don't have all that freedom that you had before. So in the second phase, people begin to grow apart. And they begin to focus on their jobs, on their friends. If they have children, one of the parents actually, or both of them, focus on the children. And suddenly they begin to go further from each other. And there is little time left for them to focus on their marriage. And it is in this phase that the couple decide that they are growing apart, that their love is ending, and that their marriage is coming to an end. Other person, what he or she wants to see. Okay? In other words, all positive ideas that you have, you see it in that person. Doesn't matter whether that person has it or don't have it. Okay? You just project it on that person. You say, yes, you marry, a person 5 feet taller than yourself, and say, no, we are the same size. Okay. Yeah, everything is the same thing. Because you are projecting, your ideal on that person. Okay. In the second phase, in the next phase, you don't see anything, you don't like anything that you see in the other person. The way that the person eats something, the way they chew, the way they brush their teeth, the way they talk, everything bothers you. You get irritated with each other because it's totally different from what you saw before, okay? And you begin to discover things about each other that you never knew that existed. Suddenly, here is a person who snores. What are you going to do with that, Or the person that has habits that you are wondering about. Before that, you would sit around and talk for hours and hours and hours. Now you're married, and the person doesn't want to talk at all. That's it. That's the end of conversation. We are finished. So it is a remarkable process. It's a frightening phase. And the frightening phase about this phase is that it can last 75 years. It just can last. It just goes on and on and on. It never comes to an end. And it is in this context that people begin to remember this phase. And they say, oh, how I wish I could go back to the romantic phase. And it is in that phase that somebody comes along, a handsome man or a cute woman, and say, hello, I like the shape of your eyes, or ears, or this or that. And you fall for it. You suddenly fall for it, and you begin a new romantic relationship. Because romantic relationships are nice. They are blind. You can imagine whatever you want to imagine. The second phase is the phase that you have to learn yourself and the other. Because what marriage does, each person becomes the mirror of the other person. Okay? And what you don't like about the other person is the reflection of yourself in the other person. And it is an occasion for learning, an occasion of discovery of who you are, what kind of a person you are, how capable you are of giving compassion to other people, giving kindness to other people, giving encouragement to other people. It mirrors you, okay? So it is a very fundamental process happening in the second phase. Also, the first phase of marriage is correspondent with childhood. This is correspondent with a state of childhood, okay? The state of, is correspondent with that. Is an issue at the time that both husband and wife come to a lower degree of functioning in emotional sense. And we become more like we are playing marriage rather than actually marriage, okay? You're playing it because you're learning. You're trying to learn how to be married. While this phase is the phase of adolescence of marriage. And that's why it becomes so electric and so chaotic and so upside down. And it is this phase that requires the greatest level of care and considerable degree of wise counsel so that the couple don't make a mistake thinking they have fallen out of love and ending marriages. Unfortunately, in our society now, most couples who have these difficulties and go to professionals, the professionals say, okay, you have fallen in love, you better separate. It is a very unfortunate process because the understanding of the dynamics of marriage in the circle, professional circles, is very limited. It ends at this level and then goes back to the first level again. While there is a third level in marriage, in developed marriage, we talk about it tomorrow.